welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown, the unofficial sumo podcast for official sumo fans. This is Ryan.
This is Fleric.
This is Jake.
This is Mac.
And this is our Hatsu recap episode coming at you right after we finished watching it on Sunday morning. Hell of an exciting Basho, hell of a finish to the Basho. I think for my money, one of the best we've seen in a couple of years, I think, for the excitement of the finish. It could have been better had a couple of things gone the other way, but I still think it was top tier finish.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said the same thing about the last one that Terunofuji won, but like on paper, it's like, cool. All right, Yokozuna won. But like getting there was wild.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we'll dive into those specifics in a moment. But first, we've got a little bit of business at the top with our Patreon. We're going to be doing a small change to our Patreon. We're going to be adding a new tier. Currently, it's a $1 tier and a $3 tier. We're going to be sticking a $2 tier in the middle of those. And that's going to be for the trading cards. So the people, we used to do it if you were at the $1 tier, you'd get one trading card for every box that I open. Speaking of boxes that I open, I have right here
the new one has arrived.
For Series 1 box. It will be opening in probably, hopefully next week, because it's going to, I'm not going to be able to hold myself back from opening that.
but like the shipping turned out to be more than we thought it was going to be. Yeah, doing it right is important to us.
Yes. So we're just bumping that up $1. So if you are a member of the $3 tier already and you like getting the trading cards, you don't need to do anything. That's going to be wrapped up in there. If you're a $1 tier member and you want to bump up to the trading card tier at $2, you'll need to do that before we open up this next box. And we'll send a message out on the Patreon, so everybody should get an email about that. So just a little bit of business there. And then we just need to give a compliment to all of our continuing patrons, including Octavian Martin, Dick Flair, Aetherist, Darth Churros, our patron predictions champion.
That is Ozeki Darth Churros to you.
That's right. Ozeki Darth Churros.
Oh, wow.
We have Super Skunk, Rob Shields, Anthony Baker, Sugoi Creative, Carolyn, DK, Kenny Beddig, Cole Brumley, Glenn Otto, Jill Bean, Akiyaki, Beth Comer, Lauren, Philo Klom, Devin Peterson, Paul Baker, Dave Rodriguez, Trent E., our patron predictions loser or co-loser, and Frank Kelton. All of you are prettier than a well-executed back body drop perfored by
yeah. Except for Trent,
what a
who sucks
fun
at picking,
little nugget on day 15.
Yeah, no kidding. Who was the other patron loser this time around?
I think it was Saint Anger.
Okay, yeah.
And I know what their name is on Discord. I have no clue what their Patreon.
It's just more fun to say Saint Anger, honestly.
For what it's worth, if you contribute at any level, you can access our Discord, which is mostly we're talking about just chatting about the Basho and stuff like that, of course, but also like helping us out with things like Match of the Basho. Cow Puncher came through again, helping us compile clips to keep it easier to keep track of like what the best matches have been. And we also do a champ chump of anybody who wants to participate in the Discord gets to pick their champ and chump and follow along. So Darth Churros, our winner, not Yokozuna, because that's reserved for this show.
And Mac,
of course.
Why don't you announce who the GSB Yokozuna is?
Why,
yes,
indeed I can. I was waiting for my proper opening to honor the illustrious, the infamous, the fantastical, the amazing Yokozuna Fleric.
Thank you. Yes.
Looking so dapper with your wonderful hoodie and stylish hair. I love it. I love it so much. I wish I could aspire to be you, Yokozuna Fleric.
Coming in hot off of crapping the bed last time, straight to winning. I love it.
Yeah.
Hey, as a Yokozuna does.
He broke 30 points for maybe the first time since we dropped a U show to less than 5 points.
Yeah.
So, very good performance by Fleric here.
Absolutely. He just needed to go Kadoban for one Basho.
Yeah,
apparently.
No, well done all around. And I managed to skirt by with I think I beat Mac by one single point.
You got third by 1 point. Yeah.
And
it
I'm pretty
down
sure
to me and Fleric on the final day, either Kotonowaka or Terunofuji. Obviously, Terunofuji walked away with the U show.
And for me, I think that special prize for Onosato pushed me over the edge. But
yes, that is it. That's what did it.
Congrats, Yokozuna Fleric.
All right, Jake, Amazumo update before we dive into everything regarding the Hatsu Basho.
Quick one for you today. As always, sumo411.com will have the most complete picture of amateur sumo events in the world. Just yesterday, actually, we had the second annual Kuma Bash. That's in Nashville, Tennessee, or suburbs, I think, Antioch. But that is the second year running, the only all youth tournament in the country. And you can find video of that on Nate's channel. That is Nathaniel D. Hudson. Although I would recommend just searching Kuma Sumo Bash, Kuma as in bear, Kuma Sumo Bash 2, and you'll find the one that streamed just yesterday. Also, coming up in 2 weeks, we got the Mighty Eagle Team Tournament. I'm going to be at that one. That's in San Antonio on the 10th of February. And then on the 24th of February, we got the second annual SoCal Open in San Diego. More traditional. That one's open to everybody, all weight classes and all that. The Met, the Mighty Eagle Team Tournament, is primarily a 3-man team event.
All right, so let's dive into this fantastic Hatsu Basho with our Yusho winner. As we said before, it's kind of chalk. The Yokozuna won it. Teruno Fuji with a 13-2 record, but it's journey over destination. This is his 9th career Yusho, which moves him up into a tie for 15th all time. If he gets one more, he'll move into a tie for 10th place, which I believe is like a move into a tie for like 11th or something like that with 10 overall. And 10 is kind of like that high watermark for Yokozuna, which kind of makes you a tier above the rest, historically speaking.
Used to mean something more when you get like that special name for it. Ichidai. Toriyashi.
And then Hakuho did it.
And then Hakuho came.
Let's not do that anymore.
Well, it might have been Takanohana, but who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still very it's just an impressive stat, and people think highly of you.
Absolutely. June Yusho winner happened in a playoff match. Sekiwake, soon to be Ozeki, Koto no Waka with a 13-2 record himself. This is his second career June Yusho, his second consecutive June Yusho, as he walked away with the June Yusho in Kyushu as well. Special prizes awarded. We had the Gino Show Technique Prize going to Koto no Waka. This is his first career Technique Prize, but his 6th special prize overall. The Shuken Show Outstanding Performance Prize went to Maegashira 1 Wakamoto Haru following a 10-5 record. This is because he defeated the Yusho winner Teruno Fuji. I believe he also got a victory over an Ozeki at this point. I think he beat Takakeisho.
He beat Takakeisho, but lost to the other guys, which in hindsight isn't super impressive, but it still counts.
Yeah. But yeah, mostly it's getting that win over Teruno Fuji and finishing with a winning record, unlike some 4-11 Rikishi named Shodai.
Yeah. So the outstanding performance prize is generally like in a perfect world, the regular qualification for it is you were the guy who beat the guy that did win. So for Wakamoto Haru, he got
if the guy that won was a Yokozuna.
Yeah. If the cleanest possible definition, so the Yokozuna goes 14-1. If the guy who got that 1 is lower than Ozeki, boom, that's a straightforward, outstanding performance. But yeah, the 2 guys beat Teruno Fuji this time around. However, at 4-11, Shodai absolutely not eligible for any special prizes at all for that.
Shodai literally lost 8 straight matches to finish the Basho after beating Teruno Fuji on day 7.
Yeah, he really shot his wad and was just totally done.
Koto no Waka was also eligible for an outstanding performance prize. Had he won the Yusho, he would have also walked away with an outstanding performance prize. But obviously, Teruno Fuji took that in the playoff. And then we did have one Kanto Show Fighting Spirit prize, as we alluded to earlier, Ono Sato, with the customary, you're a top division newcomer, you get at least 10 wins, we're giving you a Fighting Spirit prize. He went 1 above that with an 11-4 record. So obviously his first career Fighting Spirit prize and his first special prize overall. Shimazu Umi had an opportunity to get this award as well. He came into the day at 9-5, but he lost his match on day 15, finishing with a 9-6 record, therefore not getting that prize. So we're talking about the Yusho race and how wonderful it was. So we had 4 contenders who rose above the dust after day 12, setting up what was essentially a 3-day round robin where the champ would emerge. Because starting at about day 10 or 11, we started sending all the Maegashira Yusho hopefuls to face the likes of the Ozeki and Kotonowaka and Teruno Fuji just to see if they were real deal contenders for the Yusho, and none of them could pick up a single win in any of those matches.
No.
Eliminated them from the Yusho. So we were left with 4 following day 12. They were Yokozuna Teruno Fuji, Ozeki Kirishima, Ozeki Hoshoryu, and Sekiwake Kotonowaka.
Yeah, I was going to add that part of the reason that this shook out this way was, at least to me, it seemed like they were throwing lower contenders to the wolves a lot earlier than they have in the past. Like Ono Sato, like he got thrown all the way up and had to face all the toughest guys, like basically in a row, starting on day 10. He had Kotonowaka, Hoshoryu, Teruno Fuji back to back, lost all 3 of those. So it's like, boom, all right, you're done, cleaned out.
But I like that. It had to be a little humbling for Ono Sato. Like, okay, yeah, you're hot shit on the bottom, but notice the skill gap at the top. Here's what it takes to be at the top of this.
I think it's division. A good thing, but I just mean usually it feels like they wait too long to give those guys upper matches.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. That's the big reason, because they had to, because there's so many people at the top who were doing pretty well. Yeah. So if you want the Ozeki versus Ozeki versus Yokozuna in the last couple of days, you got to start early on those guys in the bottom. So, and they definitely made sure to do that to start early to give plenty of time to make sure if they're contenders or not.
Such wonderful insight as befitting of a Yokozuna. Well done, Frank.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, this is going to be insufferable for the whole episode.
This is nice. We're good Tsukebito, Mac.
Oh, Mac is the best Tsukebito.
Yeah. I'm liking this. It's been a while since you lost in that one.
It has. I've gone a whole year without losing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's
really an embarrassment for us all, Mac. Yep.
Indeed. Yeah. and you all should be ashamed, except for you, Yokozuna Flick. For you are the magnificent. So please continue your awesomeness.
So, well, I'll continue, but
no. You sit down, Ryan.
Ryan,
let Yokozuna Flair continue his thoughts.
I think Mac's on to something. Let's keep him.
All right, Flair, drive the bus. Where are we going?
You can find us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter.
Indeed.
X.
He need not say anymore. The episode is over. Yokozuna Flair has spoken.
No. So as we mentioned, we had 4 contenders, and each one of them had big things on the line. You have Teruno Fuji, our Yokozuna, our injured Yokozuna, coming back to prove that he still has it. He's still the cream that rises to the top, and he wants to get to that 10 career Yusho mark. And if somebody's going to join him at Yokozuna, like Kirishima, he's got to effing prove it against Teruno Fuji. You had Kirishima, the Ozeki that refuses to lose in the second week, coming off of his 13-2 Yusho in November. And if he could make it through the final 3 days unscathed, he would be Yokozuna in Haru. You also had Hoshoryu, the Ozeki that doesn't want to be surpassed by his rival Kirishima. If he can make his way through the final 3 days to win the Yusho, he'll start a Yokozuna belt run of his own. And then we have Kotonowaka, the Sekiwake, looking to cement his own legacy in the shadow of his Ozeki grandfather. The rank of Ozeki on the line, and he started the round robin with a 1-match advantage, coming in at 11-1 record, while everybody else was starting with a 10-2 record. And so how it should have lined up was all 4 of these guys would face the other 3 in the final 3 days. Just a perfect little bow tie to end the Basho. But as we saw with the first match, Kirishima versus Hoshoryu, in which Kirishima won with a pretty nifty I don't know, like kick technique, trip technique. I don't know what you want to quite call it. But it injured Hoshoryu, unfortunately, and he had to go Kyujo on day 14, giving Teruno Fuji a freebie on day 14. But on day 13, we also had Teruno Fuji versus Kotonowaka, and Teruno Fuji proving for the first time why he is Yokozuna and fairly easily forcing Kotonowaka out of the dojo. So following day 13, we had 11-2 Teruno Fuji, Kirishima, Kotonowaka, and 10-3 Hoshoryu. So Kirishima's dreams of Yokozuna still alive at this point. And then on day 14, we had the matchup Kirishima versus Kotonowaka, where Kotonowaka, either some gamesmanship or more likely some nerves, had 2 matas before the match started up. But when the match did start up, he was able to defeat Kirishima, which this one was a blow. I have Kotonowaka as my champ. And I like Kotonowaka. I want best things for him, but I was really wanting Kirishima versus Teruno Fuji, 12-2, Yusho and Yokozuna on the
all
line.
The hype.
I would take any loss in the prediction series to watch Kirishima be promoted to Yokozuna.
Absolutely.
No hesitation.
So that was a little deflating, but for me, at least, I had Kotonowaka as my champ. So that was points for me. And
silver lining.
And Kotonowaka one step closer to a potential Yusho and Ozeki promotion for him. And then, as we mentioned, Teruno Fuji versus Hoshoryu. Hoshoryu, unfortunately, had to pull out of that matchup. So coming into the Basho, he had injured his knee in the joint practice in front of the YDC. He had landed on a Tawara wrong and kind of tweaked it a little bit. And so got tweaked again in that day 13 matchup, and he woke up on day 14 pretty much unable to walk, went to a hospital, had an MRI, and some good news, it's just a pulled ligament, not a torn ligament or anything like that. So sounds like he should be able to rest and recover early in the offseason, be back for Haru without much issue. He got a shot that enabled him to at least walk on day 14, and he wanted to come back. He was set. He was going to miss day 14. He wanted to come back and fight day 15, but his Oyakata, Tatsunami Oyakata, was able to convince him that a powerless Ozeki is not what the crowd wants to see. So
there's nothing to prove there. He was out of Yusho contention. It was absolutely the right call.
He had 10 wins already through the first 12 days. He was showing Ozeki sumo. Nothing you can complain about for Hoshoryu's performance this Basho.
He'll come back, kick ass in Haru.
I can kind of see the whole wanting to face Teruno Fuji in regulation matches because there's only going to be so many of those left. But yeah, it's probably smart.
But seeing what we saw from Teruno Fuji, likelihood of Hoshoryu winning that match, especially on a bad knee, not going to happen.
It's hard to Yotsu that man. He's a tough guy to throw.
Turns out he's pretty good at the sumo.
Can do the sumo.
Yeah.
So after day 14, that set us up with co-leaders Kotonowaka, Teruno Fuji, and Kirishima, one behind at 11-3. He's just hoping that he can beat Teruno Fuji, and Kotonowaka stumbles on the final day to set up a three-way 12-3 playoff where if Kirishima could win that, still a chance at Yokozuna. But we get day 15, and Kotonowaka, this is where he should have fought Hoshoryu had everything gone right, but he'd run out of Sanyaku opponents to face. He had run out of the high Maegashira to face, and that left him with 7-7 Tobizaru for his anticlimactic day 15 opponent. I think in my ideal world, he would have fought like Asanoyama, who had come back from his ankle injury to secure his Kachikoshi. But you know what? I'm not going to complain about Tobizaru. They have a fairly even record heading into the Basho, so it was not a gimme by any means for Kotonowaka. But Kotonowaka did take care of business, getting him 13 wins and guaranteeing at least a playoff for the Yusho.
Yeah, I kind of appreciated that. Well, I mean, in hindsight, it feels it feels right because Teruno Fuji got a freebie, which doesn't happen very often for a Yokozuna. But
especially this late.
Yeah, Teruno Fuji getting a freebie, and then Kotonowaka getting not by, like you said, by no means a freebie, but it wasn't Hoshoryu. It wasn't exactly exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah.
And then we have Teruno Fuji versus Kirishima. If Teruno Fuji wins, playoff with Kotonowaka. Kirishima wins, he'll get a June Yusho 12-3 record, kind of keep him in the running for, hey, maybe another Yusho in Haru, gets a Yokozuna promotion. But Teruno Fuji had absolutely none of that and embarrassed Kirishima and picked him up and threw him out of the dojo with gusto, guaranteeing a playoff against Kotonowaka immediately following that. I do want to stop down, talk about Kirishima here. So he follows up his 13-2 Yusho in Kyushu with an 11-4 record in Kirishima or in Hatsu. Not a bad record whatsoever at all. But this does kind of push back any belt run until he needs 2 more Basho. This will not be a part of a Yokozuna run at all. So Fleric, watching Kirishima, and I think especially the last 2 days, did this change your perception on his readiness for the rank of Yokozuna?
After the last match, yes, while Terunofuji is around.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about more, he did end up with 11-4. That means he lost to 3 other people.
Yep.
It's interesting how that goes. I don't know. He looked really, really good in the beginning, and but Koto Nowaka just really kind of stepped it up at the end too. I feel like he's still probably ready if he gets the luck going with them, but there's definitely some matchups with Terunofuji that he has to figure something out, or he has to probably just wait until he retires. And I wonder if like I'll kind of get with Koto Nowaka, but like Koto Nowaka, if he keeps on stepping up like he is, like he might become that kind of tough force that Terunofuji is. Mm-hmm. So it's looking a little bit rough. I think he could do it with some luck, but it's looking rough with the current meta of the top guys at the top of the Bansuke.
Your wisdom is so profound, Yokozuna.
Oh my lord!
Truly, we are honored by your presence.
Oh man, can we make
I am smart
Tsukebito?
I dig it. I think that for me, I don't know. I'm certainly disappointed because I was hoping that Kirishima would do better. But like giving away, like look at his record and pretend he was Yokozuna this time around. He would have given away 2 gold stars to Midori Fuji and Tobizaru. Neither of which got a winning record even. So like losing to a Sekiwake who is on a tear and ends up with the Junyusho, fine. He lost to Koto Nowaka day 14, fine. That's no biggie. Losing to Terunofuji, in this hypothetical, the other Yokozuna, fine. Yeah, no biggie. But losing those 2 beforehand, a little bit more of like if a Yokozuna did that, would you be like worried about them? And yeah, because we were worried about Terunofuji at the midway. We were talking about exactly that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think losing to Terunofuji, fine and dandy. Losing the way he did to Terunofuji.
Yeah, okay, fair.
That
was Tochinoshin versus Enho. That was like, no, you're just going out of the ring now. Mm-hmm. Don't even try.
It's just a rough final image to be left with of Kirishima in this Basho. Just kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth. Absolutely. Does he have the potential to become Yokozuna? Absolutely. Any Ozeki does, I feel like. But it's while Terunofuji's around, like Fleric said, he might just have to wait for all of Terunofuji's injuries to take him out. Because Terunofuji, like, he didn't beat Hakuho when he was promoted to Yokozuna, but he also didn't need to wait for Hakuho to go away because he beat the other 14 people that he fought that Basho. Mm. If Kirishima had gone 14-0 leading up to the bout against the Yokozuna and lost, he would be Yokozuna right now.
It'd be just a repeat of Terunofuji's promotion.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
I would want another roar though, just like what Hakuho did after his victory. But I don't know if that's if that's exactly appropriate.
I think it's okay that he's not as good as the current Yokozuna. It's not okay that he dropped those other 3 matches.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but now wait a minute. Terunofuji dropped 2 that he shouldn't have.
I mean, yeah, but I'm just talking if for Kirishima to take that next jump up to Yokozuna, he's got to clean that up. Like, you've basically got, if you want to be Yokozuna, you need at least back-to-back 13-2s. And can he do that? Absolutely. He got really close to doing it. But it's going to be tough.
Not perfect.
Koto Nowaka stepping up. We'll have hopefully healthy Hoshoryu. And we've got some young guys that, I mean, obviously they're not quite at that level, but give them enough time.
Mm. Yeah. I'm just kind of looking at like body types of like Hakuho and Terunofuji. It looks like according to Sumo DB, Hakuho has like a 192 centimeters. So like height wise on that. So like a little bit over 6 foot, and looks like 191 for Terunofuji. And comparing that with Kirishima, he's a 187. So it's only a couple of inches less,
like
but
an inch and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe my point doesn't stand 100% though, but I don't know. There is definitely a little bit of a body type difference between the two, I guess, as well as trying to kind of get across.
I think Kirishima is very much in the vein of Harumafuji. And I think that, and especially this Basho, Koto Nowaka seems like, the next Kisano Sato type wrestler. I don't know if that's just like, digging too deep for narratives, but like I don't think either of those body types are wrong. and clearly their style is successful enough that they made it up to the second highest rank. But yeah, to me, Kirishima, I think it is just the consistency and like staying focused in those lesser matches that is really the only step he's got to take.
He has a very similar height to Kakuryu. That might be, which kind of makes sense with that. But
Kakuryu was a little thicker though, right? Wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he probably was some more thing. Yeah, and I think I'm probably reaching too much into this, but I think you hit on the nail a lot.
Yokozuna Fleric, you reach as far as you want. You are the Yokozuna #1.
just like Kota Nawaka in his long reach. But yeah, it's
nice segue.
Yeah, am I segueing? I was just gonna pretty much say the consistency is the big thing. Kakuryu, I think, had better consistency to get there. I think he had a terrible matchup against Hakuho, but he was able to still get 2 Yushos in a row eventually to get Yokozuna. Yeah. Maybe Kirishima can do that too. We'll see.
And also, Kirishima's been Ozeki for 4 Basho, and when he's
and he's not Yokozuna yet. What the heck?
What is this?
He's as washed as Oho, right, Ryan?
Hot take.
I'm gonna keep bringing that one up because Oho did great this time around.
He did great at Maegashira like 12 or 13. I don't care. All right, let's move on. Let's just get on. Let's get past this Oho bullcrap because you're not right yet. I'm still more right than you are at this point. But we've got years until that debate is
settled. Hang on. There was that whole discussion on...
So we had a playoff between Teruno Fuji and Koto Nowaka, both of whom were 13-2. I did see a note. This is going to be the first time that the Jun Yusho winner had 13 or more wins since the Teruno Fuji Hakuho face-off.
Oh, wow.
In July of 2021. So it's been a minute since we've had 2 top division guys fighting this well. And Koto Nowaka, he put up a much better fight this time than he did in the first time that they fought. There was a moment where I thought, Koto Nowaka might actually be able to pull this off, but Teruno Fuji was able to get inside grip, adjust his grip to get inside of Koto Nowaka, grab his belt, and then force him out. And obviously Teruno Fuji wins the Yusho as kind of we predicted he would if he stayed in past the day 5 mark, Jake.
Yep. Absolutely I nailed that one.
Yeah.
Had 0 doubts about it at the midway, especially.
Yeah.
So let's
not sweating it going to the last day at all.
Oh, God, no. zero sweating it.
Yeah. Let's talk about Teruno Fuji a little bit more. So did this performance, his 13-2 performance, he won his final 8. Yeah, he won his final 8 matches after losing to effing Shodai. Did it surprise you in any way coming back after such a long break from injury?
I think so. Especially that the first week looked a little shaky. I'm not going to deny that that first week performance had me pretty pessimistic about it. But yeah, by the second week, clearly he was back to normal. And obviously he's got his share of injuries, but like he's back to the form that he was in, before his longer absences, where it's like he's a glass cannon, but he's still kicking a ton of ass and clearly the best guy out there. And the injuries are clearly not enough yet to slow him down from that.
Yeah. I know in the midway, we were kind of talking, well, he lost to Wakamoto Haru. He lost to Shodai. Like when he faces Kirishima, Hoshoryu, Koto Nowaka, they're going to be a lot more likely to beat him than they ever did in the past. And obviously Hoshoryu didn't get a chance, but we saw 2 times against Koto Nowaka and 1 time against Kirishima. They still weren't up to level. I feel like Teruno Fuji was getting stronger as the Basho went on.
Absolutely.
I feel like he's the guy. Once that goal is closer, he can just power it up to the next level to attain the goal that he needs to. Week 1, so many things can happen, so the focus might not be there. But when he's closer, that focus is on, and you're not beating him.
He's clearly very mentally durable, and that showed through. And yeah, once he like kicked the tires a little bit, knocked off the rust, he was fine.
He was fine.
Yeah. Second week, it was basically like, I don't know how the numbers shake out, but clearly this is the best guy in the dojo right now. It was kind of the feeling I was getting.
I attribute it to Tobizaru. I think that's what really kind of lit a fire in him. Like, you mother, and it just destroyed him.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I definitely do. And that was definitely my favorite part of the Basho with Teruno Fuji, was just kind of watching that kind of attitude that happened with him. You just kind of saw something kind of turn on. I like this when I see it from Hoshoryu. They try to get like the attitude like I'm the top guy, you don't mess with me. Because like these are the top ranks of sumo. These are total badasses of the sport. And I just love it when they kind of get that kind of thing in their head and they're just kind of like, oh no, you don't do this. I'm just gonna take you down.
I liked
wonderful to see
that Terunofuji seemed to have come up with a technique to deal with the pusher thrusters this Basho. And we saw identical matches between him and Gonoyama and him and Onosho. It's just, you're going to be pushing me, so I'm going to grab one of your arms and then just use that to throw you around and win the match.
Pull it off.
Yeah,
pull it off.
We saw that pretty consistently from him this Basho. So I think he's come up with his technique to kind of deal with those pusher thrusters. We didn't see him go up against Daisho. We had to leave room for those Maegashira that were threatening Yusho contention. So that's the one thing that we lost this Basho was Daisho versus Terunofuji, but Daisho wasn't involved in the Yusho race, so I think that's fine. But I think we would have seen the same thing. Yeah, we would have seen the same thing that we saw from Gonoyama and Onosho. Just, I'm going to grab your arm and then quickly make you leave the dojo.
I just thought it was interesting that the two guys he lost to are grapplers as opposed to pushers. That's
Shodai.
An interesting data point, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Shodai has so much practice in that big boy meta grappling, with the Hakuho, the Terunofuji, the Kakuryu, the Harumafuji.
Such insight, Yokozuna Flare. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Excellent analysis.
I would say the one thing that kind of really surprised me from Terunofuji is like how nimble he looked at times, like moving sideways. Like he can still move. He still has some lateral movement in his knees. Yeah. He still got like either his
what little is
knee
left.
Braces. Yeah, either his knee braces are really good or like he's still got some like ACL ligaments in there.
Yeah. I think it's one other thing that I thought was kind of interesting that I hadn't really thought about before is a lot of guys in amateur sumo that have a lot of miles on them have a lot of trouble like getting all the way down into the Sonkyo position, like the squatting down on your toes. Terunofuji just boom, he went down, did the knife chop, collected his money, and goes. So yeah, maybe it's just a different way that sumo wrestlers train, but like his knees are clearly like okay for him to be able to do that as well as obviously win. So I don't know, maybe some of his injuries are overblown was something that was kind of on my mind a little bit.
I had mentioned before, Terunofuji is now tied for 15th with 4 other former Yokozuna with 9 Yushos. Those are Tochigiyama, Tamanishiki, Tachiyama, and Harumafuji. How have I never heard of 3 of those guys? I need to see when they're from.
Well, there's like 74, 73 Yokozuna, and we've only been a part of the career of 4 now, I think. 5.
So Tochigiyama was the 27th. His reign was in like the late 19-teens and 1920s. Tamanishiki was the 32nd. His reign was during the late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, I don't feel bad about those.
And Tachiyama was the 22nd Yokozuna, and his was the early 1910s. And this was all when there was like 10 matches in a Basho. So yeah, so Terunofuji, the contemporary that he is tied with is Harumafuji.
There you go. Yeah.
Are they both
tougher?
Isekahama? Harumafuji was Isekahama, right?
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I remember back when we very first started. I think by the time we started podcasting, Terunofuji had fallen down the rankings. But he was certainly an Ozeki when we first started watching sumo. And I remember that's how I learned about you don't face your stablemates unless it's a playoff.
No, Terunofuji was still Ozeki, our first Basho, but that was when he started like the next Basho, he was demoted to Sekiwake, and that's when he started his decline.
Got it.
It was our fault. So Mac, seeing this 13-2 performance from Terunofuji coming in, wiping the floor with all of the current top guys that sumo has to offer. We talk about his injuries all the time, but here he is. He's coming in after like 6 months away and just does his thing. How much longer can he keep it going?
I think he can definitely keep it up for a few more Basho. I mean, if he, as an actual participation, I think definitely a couple more Basho, definitely this year, but these are going to continue to stack up. And as we saw with Tobizaru, while he does get angry, he is defending and protecting his knees. I mean, rightly so, but it just became that much more apparent that he is still not firing on all cylinders. Now, the cylinders he is firing on, 85%, more than enough to take care of business at this stage in the game. But the game has just begun and will continue to proceed because I can see Onosato coming back up. Koto no Waka is gonna be eyeing a rope in the future. I wholeheartedly believe that. Same with Kirishima, Hoshoryu. The game's just gonna keep getting harder for Terunofuji. I can only see maybe a couple more Basho in the future for him, but I am leaning toward the end of the year. Might be considering maybe toward Kyushu a retirement for him because it's just gonna keep getting harder.
Yeah, it's not gonna get easier. That's for sure.
Yeah. So you're not swayed at all from your initial thoughts coming into this year after this performance, or was this kind of expected?
Well, I would say this is kind of expected, Yokozuna Flarik. I mean, looking at what is coming in at this point, you and Jake definitely predicted, day 5, he's going to perform. And you rightly selected him as your champ, as befitting of a Yokozuna. You did exactly everything right for this. However, time continues to march forward. And as somebody beyond the age of 30, it only gets worse. So I can't not think that, nope, these injuries are going to keep stacking up. These young bucks are going to be coming in with that much more power, that much more oomph and gusto. I can't. I don't see it. I'm sorry.
You're a treasure.
As befitting of a Tsukibito, forgive me.
Yeah. He hasn't completed 2 consecutive Basho since May and July of 2022.
Yes.
So it's been a minute that he's been healthy enough to do so. He's shown he can come back and win the Yusho, but can he do it consistently now? And we'll see.
Yeah. I will note that, Mac, you made a joke about being on the wrong side of 30. You had a bum knee when I met you like 12 years ago.
I
think I actually met you while you were still on the crutches. So
yeah. That's what happens when you dislocate your patella. It sucks.
And violently relocate it against
I was not
against
going to the
wishes.
hospital. I was not going to do that, and I paid for it.
Yep.
All right. Any other last thoughts on Terunofuji?
If he does have a knee injury, call a doctor, not Mac. Just cannot stress that enough.
Don't do what I did.
All right. So let's talk a little bit more about our June Yusho winner, Koto no Waka, or should we say Koto Zakura?
Or should we say both at the same time, like you tried to do?
That's what I tried to do. Koto Nakura. So yeah, that's what we'll call him in like the in-between time. He's still technically Koto no Waka, but we know he's going to be Koto Zakura. He's Koto Nakura right now. So Koto Nakura has the requisite 33 wins over 3 Basho, all while he was at the Sekiwake rank that would typically be required for an Ozeki promotion, and a special board meeting has been called to discuss the promotion of Koto Nakura, and those are always rubber stamped and never declined. So I'll stop. Koto no Waka will be promoted to Ozeki following this Basho. So we're going to be sitting with 4 Ozeki for the Haru Basho, unless there's like a shocking Takakeisho retirement. He's like, I just can't with my neck anymore. But just 4 Basho ago in Natsu, we had 1 Ozeki.
Yeah.
And now we have 4 with the ascension of Kirishima, Hoshoryu, and Koto no Waka. This is the first time we've had 4 Ozeki since Nagoya of 2021. So it's only been about 2.5 years. I thought it was longer than that. But in that Basho, we had Terunofuji, Takakeisho, Shodai, and Asanoyama. Terunofuji ascended to Yokozuna after that, and then that was the first Basho of Asanoyama's suspension, so he quickly dropped from Ozeki following that Basho. But Jake, we've seen this 13-2 performance for Koto no Waka. Kirishima's hit that mark once, Takakeisho's hit that mark once, Hoshoryu's never hit that mark. What is the upper limit for Koto no Waka as he's just going to be beginning his tier as an or his time as an Ozeki?
I guess the hypothetical that we just covered, where let's pretend that Kirishima is a Yokozuna and like what his record, would mean for a Yokozuna. Let's look at Koto no Waka if he and Kirishima switched places. Kirishima, or excuse me, so Kota Nowaka, if he was an Ozeki coming off a Yusho in this hypothetical, and he went 13-2, only losing to the Yokozuna and a absolutely on fire Wakamoto Haru, and then made it to a playoff to lose to Teruno Fuji, that's a debatable Yokozuna promotion, I think, right there.
Yeah.
I think yeah, absolutely. The sky's the limit. I know that you were the one strongest on this on the midway, but like, yeah, I mean, once people started talking about it, I saw it more often in chat groups and stuff like that in the second half of the Basho. But comparing him to Kisano Sato, he really looks like Kisano Sato, like in style and in patience and like poise and all that. It's just that damn like 4-year-old baby face that keeps him from looking like the most dignified guy out there.
It's disarming, and that's okay.
Yeah. So
that's
yeah,
how he wins. That nobody expects him to be that good.
Exactly.
They underprepare for him.
Yeah. No, that's got to be it. And they just can't figure out his physiology, like the way his torso works. I don't get it. He's it's distracting, and it's clearly working for him.
Just like Kisano Sato's like chicken legs. It's Kota Nowaka's baby face.
He was a potato standing on toothpicks. Yeah. Real quick though, Ryan, refresh my memory. How do we know for sure that Koto Zakura is like he's going to change it now? Has that already been like announced or something?
Yeah, it was widely expected, like when he came into sumo, that if he ever ascended to the rank of Ozeki, he would assume his grandfather's Shikona of Koto Zakura. And I think before the Basho, there were articles where he talked about he wants to get Ozeki. He wants to take on the Shikona of Koto Zakura.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Because yeah, his grandpa was a Yokozuna, right? So like,
I can't ever remember if he was Yokozuna or Ozeki. He was Yokozuna, Flarik?
Pretty sure. Koto Zakura.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
but I think if his grandfather was a Yokozuna, how unbelievably cocky and badass would it be for him not to change his name yet? Until like
53rd.
53rd.
Thank you.
Yes, he was.
Thank you, Flair. So yeah, like if Kota Nowaka is like, I'll stay, it keeps his name, that would be the cockiest thing in the world to me. That it's like, oh yeah, I cannot wait to take on my grandfather's name when I achieve a new rank, and then not doing it now. Oh god, that the balls on that would be incredible.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's ever been somebody that's changed Shikona at Yokozuna instead of Ozeki, because we saw it with Takanohana. He was Takanahata, and then that changed once he was at Ozeki. Haramafuji was Ama. That changed once he hit Ozeki. I think.
That's the one I was going to ask about. Yeah.
Was Wakanohana Wakanahata?
Waka Hanada. I think because Hanada is those brothers' real last name.
Yeah, and then he changed that Sekiwaki. Oh, he changed that Sekiwaki. But yeah, I wonder if there's any. I don't know how to do like a sumo DB, but I'm curious if there's anybody who's ever changed it from Ozeki to Yokozuna. It seems like if you're gonna change it, that Ozeki is the mark.
Yeah,
we saw it with Kiribayama to Kirishima.
Yeah, I feel like that's very cocky if you're waiting for Yokozuna.
Oh, here we go.
You know,
Futahagaro did it. The guy who never won any U shows.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He was Kitao all the way through his Ozeki career, and yeah, he's the one that infamously was promoted to Yokozuna, having 0 career U show.
Yep. And
even though he got 7 Jun U shows, he retired in scandal as a Yokozuna with 0 U show wins.
That's a scandal where he tried to sell. No. To be
honest, I'm not positive. The list is too long.
I thought it was the guy who tried to use his elder stock name as collateral for a loan, but that might be someone else.
Yeah, I don't remember. Oh well.
But yeah, if you retire from Yokozuna and scandal, that doesn't sound possible.
We have a bonus episode on him, I think. So we'll just.
That was the one where
listen to it.
Yeah, so that one, because he never won any U show. Anytime somebody accidentally said the word U show, I shot him with a Nerf gun.
That's right.
That was an awesome bonus episode.
But back to Kota Nowaka and like his technique prize. I was definitely surprised by him by how he had different strategies going to different matches. I noticed it first time when he went against Daisho. He was using his long reach to keep Daisho away from him. He was just kind of, they got in that little standoff, and like as soon as he kind of came in, he was just kind of had his hand out there to kind of keep him away. You probably know more about this, Jake, coming from MMA stuff like with striking, but like, I definitely felt like he was kind of trying to keep his opponent away before he can go in, get close, and grapple him. And I think I saw that against maybe it was Kirishima when he got that win. It was a very similar thing. Like he was just kind of using his I'm assuming longer reach than the other guy to his advantage.
Yeah, I guess like if I do have anything from my own experience that I can share, I think part of that strategy would be all the way in or all the way out. Like a pusher thruster is going to have the most power when you're like kind of close, but not belt grab close. So I've noticed you kind of wrestle like this, Flair. You like to stay all the way out until you can get all the way in. And if you don't, I can tell like you and maybe I do the same, but I watch you. I can't watch myself as easily. So like I know that for you, you definitely like staying far away until you can plan your attack and then get all the way in. So I wonder if that was the strategy against somebody who he knew was a very, very strong pusher.
Yeah, definitely could be. It's it could be like a thing, probably good for both pushing and grappling, because like you say, you're trying to not keep him away from grappling. I don't know. I'm not knowledgeable enough about it, but the big thing was I just noticed that he had a different strategy for different opponents, and it worked very, very well. And I love seeing kind of different changes of style against your opponent, and I was very, very impressed with him when he kind of did that. And I think it's a well-earned Gino Show prize because of that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
very impressed.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily the breadth of like Kimarite used for him that we might see with some other guys. It was more just like, I have a strategy, I'm going to implement it. This match is going to go how I want it to go, and I'm going to win.
Yeah.
And that's because it's like technique can be awarded for two different things. It's like, are you doing the fancy stuff and you had a winning record? I think we've seen like Midori Fuji get like a 9-6 technique prize.
If Ura won a technique prize, it would be like, oh, sweet, we're going to learn some new vocab words.
Or Ura is a prize unto himself. It's like, it's just the Ura prize.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ho won a couple like that. But then there's also like the Mitakiyumi Koto no Waka technique prizes, where it's just like, I know exactly what I'm going to do in this match. You know what I'm going to do in this match, but I'm still going to do it. And I'm going to win. And so that's kind of what this technique prize was. Just you're doing your style sumo and people can't stop you. All right. Let's talk about our highly touted newcomer, Ono Sato, who got absolutely thrown into the deep end in his debut Basho.
A humbling experience.
Absolutely. He started off 8-1, and the schedule makers were like, hey, you've got a chance at the U show. Let's effing stop that. Here's Koto no Waka. Here is, did he fight Kirishima or Hoshoryu?
Hoshoryu.
Here's Hoshoryu, and you know what? Here's Teruno Fuji as well. Good luck, young buck. And he did lose all of those, and I don't think there was a whole lot of fight put up in any of those. But honestly, dude's in his 5th Basho ever, going up against the absolute tippy. All 3 of those guys are Ozeki and above following this Basho. So that takes nothing away from my thoughts on Ono Sato this Basho. But Flair, what about you? Do you have any worries about Ono Sato going 0-3 against that group of Rikishi?
I don't know. It's his 5th Basho, and he's not like Ozeki yet.
Exactly.
It kind of seems trash to me.
Like well-known washed wrestler Oho, who is within 4 months of the exact same age. Clearly, Ono Sato has hit his ceiling.
I stand by it.
Yeah, you trash talk Oho saying he's hit his ceiling one time. He's like I just said, exact same age as Ono Sato. Those guys absolutely can still turn corners, but yeah, sorry to interrupt, but like Ono Sato's fine. Yeah.
No. That was a good interrupt, Jake. Let's tearing down Ryan is always a good. I figured
the bar would be low
I have
there.
not been proven wrong on the Oho thing yet. 1-10-5 at Maegashira 11 does not make me wrong.
The fact that they're the exact same age makes it so much more obvious that, like, if you think Ono Sato can do better against those upper guys in the future, but Oho can't do better against those upper guys in the future, that's nonsense.
I do 23. think Ono Sato can do better against those guys in the future.
Me too. I think they both can. What's up, Flair?
There was a fun meme. I think I originally saw it on Sumo memes, but I think got moved to the Discord too. Where it was like kind of
Discord.
Okay. It was Kotonowaka kind of saying like, "Hey ancestors, let's see how I'm doing pretty well. Aren't you proud of me?" It's like, "Yes, we are very proud of you, Kotonowaka." And then it's Oho saying like, "Answers. So how are you doing, Oho, down there?" And he's just kind of like,
Yeah, so it's a photo of Yokozuna Kotozakura, and it says, "Grandson, it is I, Kotozakura. How is your sumo?" And then a picture of Kotonowaka. "Good, grandfather. I am almost Ozeki." And then a picture of Taiho. "Grandson Oho, are you almost Ozeki?" And it's a picture of Oho looking absolutely terrified.
Like, oh.
But as many people have pointed out, Kotonowaka is 3 years older than Oho, and but still, I stand by my take. Once again, I have yet to be proven wrong.
Your take is garbage. All right, what's next?
memes are pretty fun. I still wanted to say one thing about Onosato is I'm not worried about him at all. The big thing is like I feel my memory tells him he lost like in a similar way each time. Like he just got thrown. So I feel like he just got skill checked by just on throw defense by everyone. Like he just wasn't used to like these, I guess, how the Yotsu Sumo, how they do it.
Yeah,
so he is, as long as like he gets like kind of like more throw defense from these guys, I think like he probably can have a more competitive match. But to me, I think he just got skill checked. So hopefully
your brilliance knows no bounds, Yokozuna Fleric. Truly.
My God. His day 10 against Kotonowaka, that one I don't necessarily think was a skill check as much as he just absolutely brain farted. He just kind of stood up and let Kotonowaka wrap around him.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I disagree, but that match in particular, he absolutely he screwed that up as opposed to the other guy beating him as much as the other ones. He definitely did get beat. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Mac, we've had kind of 3 guys emerge as next big hopes amongst the 25 and younger crowd recently. We have Atami Fuji, who kind of got a little bit of a reality check at Maegashira 1 with a 6-9 record, but to be expected for anybody making their Joy debut. And then we had Haku Oho, who came back from his injury this Basho, but we saw what he could do in the top division. And we had Ono Sato, who showed what he can do in the top division, at least in the lower Maegashira ranks. I want you to power rank those 3 guys and who you think has the most potential at this point between Atami Fuji, Ono Sato, and Haku Oho.
Well, as a Sukebito this time around, you must take my opinion with a grain of salt on this one.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But if I were to rank these 3, Atami Fuji, Ono Sato, and Haku Oho, I would say third place would have to go to Atami Fuji in this case. Yes, he hit his skill cap from 11-4 coming all the way up. He did get that reality check like, okay, this is where you need to be, a little bit higher. You're not quite there yet. Work on it. Coming up to 1 and 2, though, I would have to put Ono Sato at number 2, only because this was his this was his debut. He did well, 11-4, not bad. But Haku Oho also did that, and he put some dirt on former Ozeki. So I'm like, okay, that gives Haku Oho a little bit more of an edge. Now, Haku Oho also just had surgery, has been absent a couple tournaments, but is now fighting his way back up and managed a 6-1, if I remember his record correctly. Still managed a 6-1, so is on his way back up. That shows determination. That shows a lot of chutzpah. So yeah, I would rank Haku Oho over Ono Sato in this case.
Okay, I was just genuinely curious because I think it's tough.
No. So I said take it with a grain of salt.
Part of it is that we only have a sample size of 5 Basho in the top division combined between these 3 guys, and 4 of those are 11-4s.
Yes.
This one by Atami Fuji getting a 6-9 is the only blemish on these new guys. I think that this one is. I agree that it's a really hard decision, but I think part of it is the small sample size and also the fact that Atami Fuji's only like 2 Basho ahead of them. Mm-hmm. Like had he started 2 Basho later in the top division, they would all be like right in the same spot. Like if they all started at the same time, they would have all gotten an 11-4 from the lower Maegashira, and they all would have gone up to like, mid Maegashira or something at the same time. I really think that the injury to Haku Oho and the fact that Atami Fuji got a bit of a head start are the only things that make these clouded, because they are so close as far as prospects.
And we should get our first matchup between Ono Sato and Atami Fuji. Maybe next Basho. I haven't done the Bansuke math to know how far up the Bansuke Ono Sato is going to fly, but it was kind of a bloodbath at the top of the ranking. So we're gonna be over promoting and under demoting people. So I don't know where Ono Sato lands and all that, but I think him and Atami Fuji might end up somewhat close. So there's potential
probably in like the mid single digits or so.
Well, Atami Fuji, the lowest he would drop is Maegashira 4, but with needing extra help, he might end up at like Maegashira 3, or depending on how bad it is, Maegashira 2.
Cool.
All right. Some quick hits. Daisho, holding strong at Sekiwake. I think he's kind of the clear best non-Ozeki at this point with Koto Nawaka's promotion. Wakamoto Haru might have something to say about that in the coming Bashos. He looked pretty good this time, but yeah, 9-6, but losing to everybody ranked above him. Ura is going to be dropping out of Sanyaku after his one Basho there with his 6-9 record. He did turn it around a little bit in week 2. He's been having stronger week 2s the past couple of Bashos than week 1s, but wasn't enough this time to race back to a winning record. But like we said, he got that sweet Sutaizori on day 15 against Ryuden that already Kimarite of the year. We don't even need to keep notes for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that one will be easy. Yeah.
Nope.
As we mentioned, Wakamoto Haru 10-5. He's going to be joining Daisho at Sekiwake. So he was just one Basho away from the Sekiwake rank, but he's going to be filling that open spot left by Koto Nawaka. And great performance by him, taking down the Yokozuna, getting a outstanding performance prize. Kind of what we'd expect from Wakamoto Haru at this point. As I mentioned before, Asanoyama came back on day 13 to attempt to get his Kachikoshi. He did that. He got one more win, but he did lose on day 15 to Daisho. So
9-6, just fine.
9-6, not bad. Possibly Komosubi Asanoyama next Basho. Actually,
wow,
as I mentioned, it's a bit of a bloodbath. Abi with his 8-7 at Maegashira 2, he should be Komosubi, and then it's going to be
no way.
And yeah, and then it's going to be a debate between 8-7 Nishikigi at Maegashira 5 and 9-6 Asanoyama at Maegashira 7.
Good heavens!
Wow,
nobody
all the way
else
down to
there.
Yeah, and then the next guy with the winning record is at Maegashira 8.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
It wasn't good. When your top guys are doing top guy things, the top Maegashira are having a bad time.
This is how it used to be all the time when like Maegashira 1 through 4 were like all gone. Every Basho for a while.
Lots of turnover.
Abi, as I just mentioned, he won 8 matches in a row to make it. Was it 8 or was it 7 matches in a row?
It was 7.
7 matches in a row, 8 out of 7. He's on the midway. He was sitting at 2-6. He finished 8-7.
Oh my god, he did.
So he's going to be making it back to the Sanyaku ranks. Yay! And then no,
you hate Abi.
I do hate Abi. Hence the very sarcastic yay.
There was much rejoicing.
No, that's like, wait, what?
And then a note, Takada Fuji at Maegashira 16, suffering a 6-9 record with plenty of Juryo Rikishi that have records deserving promotion to the top division. I don't think there's any way he avoids dropping down to Juryo for the first time since Kyushu of 2012.
His match yesterday, I felt really bad for the guy. Like his, I was looking to see who was that against. Oho. His match against Oho was so hard fought, and when he hit the clay, he stayed there for just a second or two more, and you could just see the disappointment on his face. His win against Koto Shoho today was good, but you can tell he is just not having a good time.
Yeah, when you lose to a certified scrub like Oho with so much on the line, that would really hurt.
Jesus Christ.
Is there anybody else that you guys want to mention that we haven't brought up yet?
This was the most depressing thing in the world for fans of former Ozekis. Asanoyama did fine, of course, but Takayasu pulled out early in the Basho. Mitakeumi and Shodai, they're just not there anymore. It's just, it sucks.
You can tell.
Everybody has a down Basho, but like Mitakeumi is not, he's continuing to like, it feels like he gets a little bit worse every couple Basho. Let's see, he was back, it's really only been this last year, I suppose, that he's been slowly working his way down. But yeah, with a 6 and 9 for Maegashira 9, yeah, he's going to be in like the low teens or so for Maegashira.
Yeah, Maegashira 12 at worst.
He's one of those guys that it's not like Takakeisho where it's like a very obvious catastrophic injuries. That's like, that's the problem. He's just kind of like in general slowing down, and that sucks. Yeah. Shodai, same deal. He made it to Ozeki. Can't pretend he's not legit when it comes to like overall career accomplishments. But yeah, he doesn't seem to have it anymore.
It was a fluke year. That's how I'm going to pretend he's not legit overall.
You're going to pretend that until the day you die.
Yep.
And Takayasu, I mean, I've said it multiple times before, but like this might, and I could even say like probably his last trip as high as Komusubi. Yeah. I just don't know what's left for them.
Honestly, he'll probably end up at Maegashira 7 because he's been hitting Maegashira 7 a lot recently, and then he'll get like a 10-5 record. And yeah, he's been like Maegashira 7 like 4 times out of the past 2 years, which is kind of a weird coincidence to be that. And then he does good every single time. So that's probably what will happen.
at least a couple more rounds, but each one a little bit less bombastic than the last, maybe something like that. Other quick ones. Ono show. We really haven't talked about much. Good showing, man. Similar to Ono Sato, he was on fire and took some very completely understandable losses as he got tossed high up the Bansuke. And apparently Takanosho was wrestling this Basho. I didn't notice, but apparently he got a 10-5. So good for him. Yeah. I swear I did not see a single one of his matches.
We mentioned him a little bit earlier before, but Shimazu Umi, 9-6 debut, not bad at all.
Yeah. He's going to be one of those guys that probably won't ever be good enough to be the top guy, but he puts everything into it and is really fun to watch, like Kodaweko Hirata Umi. I think he easily kind of will fall into that level of Rikishi where like people like him because he tries really hard, and he's not bad, obviously, but probably not going to be at the tippy top anytime soon.
He's 27 and this was his debut. So yeah,
he's fine.
He might just be kind of like a gatekeeper for a couple years or something. Or maybe he'll have some weird ass like deal with the devil run like Nishikigi and just decide to be good. Yeah.
Props real quick to Bushozan for being exactly who I thought he was going to be as my chump. He finished his third Makuuchi Basho with his third double-digit losing record. He's gone 5-10, 3-12, and now 4-11 in the top division, racking up 8 straight losses to finish the Basho. Good on you, Bushozan.
Yep.
On that same note, Endo, who had a better second week than I was hoping, but still good enough for the win. But no, he looked pretty bad this Basho, unfortunately. Do you think he's going to drop down to Juryo?
I'll have to do the math, but he's definitely in danger.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough with the Juryo promotions this time, I think, because we'll get into it on the Bansuke episodes. He's borderline. I don't think it's guaranteed, but he's definitely potentially going down to Juryo.
He's another guy that's at almost 10 years since he's been in Juryo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like in my head, it's there looks like there was one Juryo drop after an injury at some point, but
yeah, and barring that one, he's basically never been in Juryo.
Yeah.
We've been losing a lot of those.
In my head, he's someone who just is kind of like always been around, always kind of up at the top in joy. He can always be making some competitive matches. So I don't know. It's kind of sad seeing him drop down, but he's kind of been slowly been happening this past couple years. Bashos.
Yep. 10-second version of his career. He got the Makushita Tsukidashi, started at Makushita 10, then he was Makushita 3, then he was Juryo 13, then he was Maegashira 13. And then he only sniffed Juryo one other time. He's been in Juryo 2 Basho ever out of 65. So yeah, pretty good, other than the fact that he had a very clear ceiling.
So yeah, with Aoyama recently breaking his consecutive streak in the top division, Takara Fuji is going to be dropping his streak, Endo potentially dropping his streak. we're kind of shuffling out some of these older Rikishi because I mean somebody's got to leave if people like Atami Fuji, Hakuoho, Onosato are going to be sticking around for the long term. So somebody's got to go.
But these are the guys I like, Ryan.
I know it's going to be. It's like it'll really be weird. Like if Aoyama calls it, if Takara Fuji calls it, because these guys were here before we started. They've been here the entire 7-8 years we've been watching sumo. So it's just going to feel weird without them.
Yeah, I think Takakeisho, Myogiryu, and Mitakeyomi might be the longest streaks going right now.
Okay.
Mitakeyomi, 2015, I think. That might be the longest
What
one
about
that's
Takayasu?
still active. I thought he dropped down once or twice, but I could be wrong due to injury. Nope, I'm very wrong. Let's see, all the way back to 2011.
Okay, so wow. Takayasu's got...
Yeah, never mind. He's got first place by 5 years, 4 years. All right, yep, okay, fair point.
And I think Tamawashi's last Juryo trip was in 2013.
I got one here. Yeah, 2013. Yeah, I could have sworn that he had like a quick injury drop since then, but nope, you're right. Tamawashi, Takayasu, top two for sure, it looks like.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So they're in danger. We're kicking those guys out. They need to watch it.
Make way.
Any other Rikishi that we want to talk about in the top division before we move on discussing the lower division U shows?
Kageyaki also did not do anything of note this time around.
Womp womp.
Continues the trend.
What was he? 9 and 6. Juryo 7. Yep. All right.
The most forgettable combination of numbers.
Yeah. So our Juryo Yusho winner was Takeru Fuji, not Taka, Takeru. Takeru Fuji. That one's really hard for me for some reason.
Proud of you.
Takeru Fuji, his first Juryo Yusho, his third lower division Yusho. He's going to be in contention for Makuuchi promotion, a 13-2 at Juryo 10. He's one of those borderline guys. Like, I'm not sure if they'll take him or keep like the likes of Hokuseiho or Endo. We'll see. And he's still, even after being in Juryo, a full 15-day basho, does not have more than 2 losses in any basho in any of his 8 career basho.
56 and 8 in his career.
Wow.
Doing just fine.
I think I mentioned this on the Midway episode, but if you watched Onosato facing off against the lower Maegashira guys, where he just 2 seconds bulldoze you out, that was most of Takeru Fuji's matches in Juryo.
That is a hard thing for you.
It's hard. I don't know why that one's hard for me. It might be because I'm so used to Takara. So Takeru is, I just got to think about it more.
His 2 losses were to Roga and Kitanowaka, which are both like very, at this point, you could define them as like gatekeeper to Makuuchi level wrestlers. So
both of them, I think, will be in top division next basho. They'll be coming back.
Yeah, and I don't think either of those are like worrying losses or anything like that.
Down to Makushita, we have Wakataka Kage winning his second career Makushita Yusho, going 7-0 in his second basho back from his ACL injury. This is also his third lower division Yusho, and he should end up about mid Juryo, like 8-10, I would assume, for Maegashira 1 with a 7-0 record. But also of note, down in Makushita, Hakuoho, as we said, had a 6-1 record from Makushita 5. Based on how the bottom of Juryo turned out, there should be room for him back up in Juryo. So that'll be fun, having Wakataka Kage and Hakuoho absolutely destroying everybody in Juryo for a basho.
Yeah, I think just from looking at the Bansuke here, we are definitely much less versed in Juryo versus Makushita crossover. Yeah. But it looks like there's 4, maybe 5 guys that are definitely going to come down from Juryo, and Hakuoho is probably 4th in line as far as most promotable.
There's 5 Juryo Rikishi with demotable records, but only 4 Makushita Rikishi with promotable records, unless Makushita 6 with a 4-3 can make it up for Kitadaichi. Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't think so. So I'm guessing a 4 exchange.
Yeah, Wakataka Kage, Tsushima Nada, Kitaharima, and then Hakuoho, just a couple ranks below them. So yeah, I think it's pretty likely that he will be up there.
Kita Harima, we should note, has been having a career resurgence over the past 3 Basho. This is a guy who made his Makuuchi debut
before Haku Oho was born.
Not quite.
No, I'm sorry. He made his sumo debut before Haku Oho was born.
Yeah. In March of 2002. Kita Harima is 37 years old, and he made his Makuuchi debut. The Basho before any of us started watching sumo in July of 2016. Jeez. And he hasn't touched Makuuchi since, and he's barely touched Juryo since then, but he went 7-0 in Sandanme 2 Basho go, 6-1 in Makushita last Basho, and 4-3 at Makushita 2. So hey, Kita Harima, 37 years old, coming back to Juryo.
I think I saw somebody speculating that like this might be like the oldest person to be re-promoted to Sekitori status. I don't know how to confirm that, but yeah, it's got to be close.
Yeah, I would think so. In Sandanme, we had Fuji Seiyun winning his second career Sandanme Yusho, and a little bit of a trend here, his third lower division Yusho.
We'd heard that name.
I know we've heard that name.
Oh yeah, he's been in Juryo. He's won a couple of lower division Yushos before. We've mentioned him.
2, I think, right?
Yeah.
Before this one?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He was part of the 21-0 club. He won his first 3 Yushos. No, never mind. He went 7-0 his first 3, but he lost a playoff in the second one.
Yeah. So yeah, this is his first Basho back after missing 3 consecutive Bashos following his Juryo debut. So he should be marching his way back up to the salaried ranks. In Jodidan, we had Aonishiki. He is 19 years old. This is his second career Yusho and his second career Basho. This is the 19-year-old Ukrainian that won the Jonokuchi Yusho last Basho. And then for Jonokuchi, we had Anhibiki. He is 18 years old. This is his first career Basho. An interesting note, 3 of the last 4 Jonokuchi Yushos were won by Rikshi from the Ajigawa Beya. So that's Anhibiki, Aonishiki, and Anosho. This is the Heya of the former Aminishiki.
Hey.
Huh. So he's been bringing in some good guys, it seems like.
No kidding.
And then a real quick news note before we go to our break. It seems like the soon-to-be retiring Michinoku Oyakata, the stable that he has, which features Ozeki Kirishima, is just going to be broken up following his mandatory retirement age of 65. And typically, I think they merge with another Heya in that case, but it sounds like what's going to happen is the Rikshi will just be able to choose where they want to go. That's in the Michinoku Beya. They'll just choose where they want to go. So I'm very interested to see, will Ozeki Kirishima, will he go to, I can't remember Kakuryu.
Isegahama. Play the gamesmanship.
Do it.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what? I can't beat Terunofuji. I know. I'll never face him again.
Kevin Durant him when he joined the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, there you go.
That would be so funny.
No, my guess would be he joined Kakuryu stable, but we'll see how that all plays out. I'm not sure if that takes effect following this Basho or if Michinoku Oyakata has one more before he hits mandatory retirement age, but that's something that's coming up. So it'll be interesting to see where Kirishima ends up following that. But with that being said, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back with some major news.
If you enjoy the Grand Sumo Breakdown podcast, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast listening service.
You can find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search for Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Support the show on Patreon and check out our blog, grandsumobreakdown.wordpress.com.
If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, drop us a line at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com or give us a call at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO.
Also, watch us on YouTube.
And we're back, and we've got some crazy huge news. Over the break, we did the math, and it looks like Michinoku will turn 65 in April of this year.
Okay, so we got one more.
Yep.
That is huge. Thank you.
Yep.
Did
we have anything else we wanted to talk about? Or?
No, I can't think of anything monumental that happened regarding our podcast specific fun things we do.
I think I hear air horns going off in the distance. Very muffled, but they're there. But why did it?
Yeah, what's a hand showing
What
up
is
on
that
the Zoom?
hand?
Oh, ha! Zoom's hand motions are working.
Oh, I'm like, what is that?
I can't unraise it.
Oh, carry on.
Damn you, Zoom.
That is staying in.
There we go. I can't get it to do it again.
Jake, we're recording.
Oh, we have to experiment with Zoom. We can't talk about how the GSB belt has made it
more.
We can't talk about how the GSB belt has finally made its way up to Yokozuna. Stop trying to change Zoom.
Wait, what'd you say? What? Are we free?
Huh?
Did it happen?
It finally happened. The GSB belt that we started. Let's see. When did this iteration start? In
Nagoya 21.
Nagoya of 21. God, it has been almost 3 years.
It's been 3 years.
The Titanic meme.
Yep, Titanic callback.
3 whole years. Wow. Oh gosh.
Especially 2 full years in Makushita.
2 full years. Not just in Makushita. In the Makushita Joy, like waiting to make that jump from Makushita into
Just
Juryo.
never did.
And then it took let's see, it took 2 Basho to make its way through Juryo, and this time around Kodo Shoho carried it into the top division, immediately went straight to the top. It's perfect. It was the exact matchmaking that needed to happen.
Oh no show did heavy lifting this Basho.
Yes.
I can't thank him enough. But Jake, tell everybody, how did we get to this point?
Exactly.
This Basho.
Kodo Shoho had it, then Ono Sato had it on day 2. But Onosho actually had a chance to win it on day 1, but lost to Kodo Shoho. But then came around to beat Ono Sato on day 3, carried it all the way up to losing to Kirishima. So yeah, just like 2 steps to get from Maegashira 14 to Ozeki. Kirishima kept it for a few days, lost it to Kotonowaka, and that's where it would have stayed. But we got a playoff. Teruno Fuji won the GSP belt in the playoff for the U-Show.
Wow.
To get the belt onto a Yokozuna. Absolute picture perfect finish. To all
Feels
of
good.
you who enjoyed our misery while it was languishing in the Makushita Joy, we did it. We did it, everyone. Thank you for sticking with us.
I know
now we're ready for belt number 3.
There's a little bit of
Maybe
people
later.
cheering for it to get all the way up to Ozeki, and then like Kirishima lose to Kotonowaka, and then Kotonowaka lose to Tobizaru, and just throw us back into chaos.
Yep.
Not this time.
Not today.
So we got a couple options from here. We could start it again at the bottom. We could also do a loser's belt, and just see if you lose the belt or if you lose the match, you get the belt.
Start
And
it
see
with
how
like
long it
Teruno
goes.
Fuji.
Well, that's the thing, that we can't really start at Teruno Fuji because I'm not super optimistic that he's going to be in the next spot show.
Nick and Ozeki?
Yeah,
Well, we
so I
can
don't
wait
know.
till he shows up. Go that way.
We started both of our iterations of the GSB belt by saying the winner of the very first match of the Basho. What we could do is the very last match of day 1, whoever that last match is, whoever loses that gets the belt, and then just have it work its way down.
Okay.
That's a possibility.
That seems a good compromise.
The other issue is that if you keep winning, you're not likely to go Kyujo. But if you keep losing a bunch, we would have to come up with rules for when people pull out of the tournament to see. So I don't know. We'll think about it. But yeah, the second iteration of the GSB belt took 140 matches and nearly 3 years to make its way from Byakuen, who beat Shonen Zakura. Shonen Zakura was still around. That's how old this belt is.
Wow, I missed that guy.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, went on its way up. Let's see, Osanai had it for a long time. Ryuden had it for a long time on his way back up. Oshoma for a while. Toki Hayate had it for a while in Makushita. Onosato and Juryo for a while. And then yeah, the only other long run was Onosho in this Basho. So fun little thought experiment. I would love any suggestions on ways to do it differently next time for fun.
And if not, we'll just do it how we did this time again.
That's
and
fine
see
too.
If we
Yeah,
get stuck
it worked.
in Makushita. Yeah, it's fun to see who these things land on, and it helps us take note of some different names as they're coming up.
Yeah, Fuji Seiyun was one of the guys that had this at some point, so it was kind of fun to see his name pop up again.
I know that name.
All right, Mac, why don't you remind us one more time who won the Champ Chump series this time?
Ryan, our fans truly need to be reminded of who the current driver of the bus is. The stupendous, the magnificent Yokozuna Fleric, the illustrious winner of the Champ v Chump series.
I drive the bus now, apparently.
I am Yosuke Bito. I do as you command. You drive the bus. So
let's remember to throw your salt high and just keep moving forward. Hit the drums.
I think it's, the exact same amount of frustration I feel with Mac this episode is precisely the amount of pride I would feel if he was doing it for me.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty high level of both.
Good. I'm doing my job.
Exactly. Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, you're doing great, Tsukibito.
Thank you. Your praise means everything to me, Yokozuna Fleric. Your praise truly is wonderful.
Don't encourage him. He's a Tsukibito. You got to keep him in his place.
My place is my Fleric side. Yokozuna Fleric side. Forgive me, Yokozuna Fleric.
Yeah. Get back in your cage. So yeah,
I like my cage.
So yeah, it's it worked well. I didn't fall for the trap like I did last time of not picking Terunofuji when he wanted to enter the Basho. So I learned well from the last time, and it unfortunately took the sacrifice of Aoyama's ACL in knees and probably career
an offering.
But
as he landed on the dojo, people could hear, "I did it for you, Fleric."
See it for you, Yokozuna in my heart. I always knew Yokozuna Aoyama would pull it off.
In either Bulgarian or Japanese, two languages Fleric does not know.
But yeah, it was good. It was fantastic. It's nice to not have to do a punishment because unfortunately the punishment that was going to happen this at the preview this time is going to be pushed back again because of it's a lot of work to do. Mystery is what I'm finding out, and yeah, fuck that shit. But
it's being pushed back due to I didn't do it.
And just been kind of distracted and stuff. But
it has been started. We're getting there, and it will happen someday. I promise.
If I may say, Yokozuna Fleric, your reaction this morning was truly the most amazing. With wait, I won. No, truly, just as befitting your brilliance. Just you didn't even need to check. You just knew that you.
It's all that Hinkaku he's got.
Clearly.
Yes, I am full of Hinkaku. You son of you bastards. I'm the best.
With it, yeah.
But back onto like my Yokuzo the win, which I think the punishment this time for Mac or Tsukibito was going to be a movie scene of choice, and my creativity unfortunately is just not anything right now. So I'm actually going to do something different as a Yokozuna for the people, as Kakuryu kind of would say. I am also going to be a Yokozuna for the people who give us money. I'm going to delegate to the patrons. I think I'm going to take some nominations in some way, and then we're going to find some way to pick from there. So just kind of keep an eye on it in the Discord. Well, we actually should open this up to the website too, not just Discord, so everyone has a chance to get to it. But we'll find some way to include everyone, and we'll try to find some kind of movie scene that people are excited about to make Mac do. So
your benevolence truly is inspiring. You
contact us.
Indeed, a Yokozuna of the people, Fleric. Yokozuna Fleric.
Contact us however you like. But yeah, if you got an idea you want to see Mac do, let us know. Just be aware he is immune to shame. So my thinking here is we got to make him do more work as opposed to more embarrassing things, because you just can't embarrass him. He'll like lean into it and somehow turn it around on you.
I don't know what you mean.
Just a heads up.
Whatever could you mean?
But yeah, there is some movie where it's just kind of like one long dinner scene. So like one scene would be like a
My dinner with Andre.
Movie. Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that movie.
Would that technically count as one scene?
You know what?
Hey, if there's no camera cuts.
There's a bajillion camera cuts. It's a movie.
Well, there's some movies that are like no cuts or extremely long scene with no cuts.
Yeah. Birdman in 1917 were like set that way. I mean, they hid the cuts. Whatever. Sorry,
but stay tuned, patrons and listeners and watchers.
Indeed, yeah. But yeah, and it should lead to hopefully a double punishment Haru coming up. So
very exciting, first time ever. Double punishment preview.
Super exciting for me and Ryan.
Yeah, that's great.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to our bold predictions. We had plenty to choose from, making it difficult to find a winner, but I think we've settled on a very worthy winner this time. But before we get to the best, we have to start with the worst, including Quar Q, who predicted Kirishima going Kyuju mid Basho and a Daisho Yusho. We had Breeze of the Dene, Dr. Mojito, and McKinley Prime all predicting Takayasu Yushos. For some reason, always the most popular Yusho pick in our bold.
I appreciate the dedication. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Along those same veins, we had Thomas G saying Takayasu at Komosubi feels like possible disaster for the men above him. He's always his best in the first week, and I could easily see him giving both Kotonowaka and Kirishima black stars early. Kirishima defeated Takayasu, and Kotonowaka got a Fusen win over Takayasu.
Ooh, not even that they didn't face him. They both got a win. Yeah, okay.
The obligatory when somebody predicts a Shodai Yusho, they get mentioned in the bad prediction, so that honor goes to Scott Bennett predicting a 12-3 Shodai Yusho. James Howe said that Takakeisho will confound the doubters again.
Which doubters?
I'm
confounded.
I doubt he can get injured.
I was like, what doubters?
Huata, freaking complaining that he never shouldn't like give him what he wants by including him in the bold predictions, but he complained, so here he is. In the bad predictions, Shimazu Umi ending with more wins than Onosato, Endo with 9+ wins, Koto Shoho Jun Yusho, and Wata gets a t-shirt in the mail.
I'm not sure about this one. It supposedly, I have confirmation that it shipped on the 5th of January. And that's the last news that I got. So,
wow.
So he may have even been wrong about receiving a t-shirt.
And then we also had Shift Reset predicting an Ura Yusho with 2 special prizes. That did not happen. But we did have good predictions that weren't quite good enough to make it up to the t-shirt level. We had Mitch Lemponen 6623 from YouTube saying that Shodai will end up with somewhere between 1 and 13 wins. On the nose, not incorrect at all. Good job, Mitch Lemponen.
That's super bold. That's super bold.
But no,
that's why it's only good. That's why it's only good. But hey, 100% correctness rate with that.
That is important.
Lurker Molly sent us an email where she predicted Takakeisho is going to go Kyujo within the first 4 days. Takakeisho was out on day 4. The Tachiai blog predicted a Yokozuna Yusho. Terunofuji won the Yusho.
Actually, kind of bold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Asset, my man, you're trying so hard. You're getting close, but you had Terunofuji in contention till the final day. Onosato gets the Fighting Spirit prize. Atami Fuji between 7 to 9 wins. He finished with 6. Takeru Fuji, immediate candidate for Makauchi promotion after a 12-3 record or better. That was pretty damn good, Asset. That was close, but there's just a couple more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kyle Fortu Legaspi also predicted Terunofuji Yusho, and Zvi Macklin predicted 11-4 record for Kirishima. Kotonowaka Yusho lost in the playoff, and Atami Fuji would struggle going 7-8. He ended up 6-9, so pretty close.
Pretty good.
Not bad. Not bad.
T-shirt came down to 2 people, but coming up just short is former t-shirt winner Edward Serene predicting that Kirishima, Kotonowaka, and Terunofuji would be competing for the Yusho till the last day. Excellent. All 3 of them were eligible for the Yusho on the final day. He predicted Onosato 11-4. That's exactly what he got. And Atami Fuji 10 or fewer wins. So that's pretty good, but
pretty good.
Not quite as good as Toad Boy, who predicted Terunofuji will go 13-2 if he competes past day 3. Kotonowaka will go 12-3 with the Jun Yusho. Did one better than that, but got the Jun Yusho. Onosato 11 wins. Kirishima and Hoshoryu 10 wins. Hoshoryu got 10 on the dot. Kirishima was 1 above that. And Takakeisho Kyujo.
That was the clincher.
Knew what was happening this Basho. And so Toad Boy, you are going to be awarded a GSB t-shirt, and we will contact you so that we can get those details and get that sent over to you. Hopefully it arrives before Wata's.
So, yeah, no, somebody definitely got the sports almanac from Future Biff on this show. That was
that might be an all-timer.
Yeah, like 6 for 6 or whatever here. That's excellent.
Yeah, that's pretty dang good.
All right, let's move on to the GSB Awards. The world's strongest Oshidashi Award goes to Terunofuji for pushing Ura out while Terunofuji was basically standing in the center of the dohyo on day one.
Wow, we really swung and missed here. It should have been the most Hidashi.
Oh gosh. Yeah, the most Hidashi.
Right in our
Dang
face.
it.
I'm not good with the puns. And I need you to come in. I have to give you a tip of the cap there. You're far better at that than I am. So
I guess I gotta do this for everybody too. Gotta carry the team on my back.
The Sweet Revenge Award going to Gonoyama for bulldozing Hoshoryu out of the dohyo in their day 5 match, their first matchup after their 3-minute stare down in Kyushu. The Don't Effing Do That Again award goes to Tobizaru for kicking at Terunofuji's leg again, which got him a little bit of an extra shove at the end of the match and a good hearty Yokozuna stare down following. So I think Terunofuji has sent his message to Tobizaru. They should, if Terunofuji shows up. No, Tobizaru had a losing record, so they might not face each other next Basho. I hope they do.
We can
I
only
really hope they do.
Mm-hmm.
I think this next one is yours, Mac.
Yes, it is. The Do a Little Dance Award goes to Atami Fuji on day 11. He took his time getting to the Shikiri-sen. He was kind of a little ways back, and then he just proceeded to kind of hop, dance, stomp, just did a little jig before getting up to the Shikiri-sen, and it worked. It must have been for luck because he eventually defeated Shodai. So I was like, do a little dance. I like that.
He does have a very like routine, like hop from one foot to the other a little bit, but yeah, that one was very exaggerated.
It was prolonged, I think is what it was. Next up, I have to give the Ninja Balance Award. This one goes to Takanosho on day 15, who somehow managed to remain in the ring after a pull-down win against Gonoyama, all in the ball of one foot. Like, they went back. There was a mono-e. They're looking back, but there's clearly enough space between the bottom of his foot and the Tawara. It's like, nope, he's just balancing on the ball of his foot and maybe even a couple of toes. So, Ninja Balance Award. Like, well done there.
Yeah, I definitely thought Takanosho had lost that match.
So did
I watched it. So to see that he had kept that balance, that was very impressive.
Yeah, never skip cap raise day.
Yeah.
But it hurts so bad the next day if you do it right.
The I'm Not Ready Yet award goes to the Gyoji, who fell down in the middle of the Kirishima. Oh, no, it was Kirishima Hokuto Fuji match.
Hokuto Fuji.
Yeah. And just taking his damn sweet time, putting his hat on, making sure it was lined up correctly, getting his shoes back on before stepping into the dohyo. Match could have ended at any time while he was doing that, and he wouldn't have known. But hey, they waited until he was ready, so they were very polite. And then the I thought that match ended 4 different ways award goes to Ura versus Tobizaru on day 13. I'm just going to read you my notes from that match. So before the matchup, I was like, always promises to be a fun matchup. I wrote that down. And then after the match, I said, not as fun, but an interesting end nonetheless. And then my third bullet point is my largest bullet point from any of the notes that I took on any match of this Basho. Oh my God, the roller coaster that this ending was. As you're watching it, you think it's a clear loss for Ura. He is being easily tossed out by Tobizaru, but then Tobizaru steps a bit too far and steps out before Ura touches down. The Gyoji immediately points towards Tobizaru, walks up, checks the Jano Mei, and sees that Tobizaru stepped out. So then he points the goodbye towards Ura. And then you think that was the right call.
So clearly I can't choose the wrestler in front of me.
Yeah. A mono-e is then called, and then you see the slow-mo replay that you think will confirm a Tobizaru loss, but then you see the tip of Ura's pinky graze the dohyo right before Tobizaru steps out inadvertently. So clearly, Tobizaru is going to win the match. But then you get the explanation from the Shippan, and they say Gyoji Gunbai Dori in favor of Ura. And so then you're just left confused. Like, did they not see Ura's finger?
What is the point of the replay?
I definitely thought it looked like his finger touched.
Yeah. It was very brief, very gentle graze of the dohyo. But if your hair touching the dohyo counts, then the tip of your pinky should count too. So I don't know if like the people in the replay booth just didn't tell them that Ura's pinky touched, or I don't know what they thought they saw. But yeah, that match had me on a huge roller coaster.
And Tobizaru ended 7-8. That was a deciding win.
True.
Yeah.
Between winning record and losing record. Like and with these records, that could have got him up to like Komusubi or Sekiwake.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Maybe even Ozeki, who knows?
Actually, at Maegashira 4
I do.
with an 8-7 record, he would have superseded Nishikigi and Asanoyama for that Komusubi rank.
Oh my god.
Rob.
Yeah. I don't have a name for this one, but a quick shout out to Day 10 in general for being funny. On Day 10, we got all three of these. We got Takanosho versus Tobizaru slapping down, but like for almost an entire lap around the ring. That was hilarious. Tamawashi and Atami Fuji had a bunch of near falls over and over again until they both splatted down like flat on their faces.
Oh yeah, that was a good match.
It was a good match. It was very slapstick.
Yeah.
And then also on Day 10, Daisho versus Hoshoryu. Daisho like does a goofy little hop trying to get over the trip. He was trying to dodge a trip, but he just ended up looking like he was skipping through a field of daisies right into a choke. Like he just jumped into Hoshoryu's hand. Just
yeah.
Excellent. Strong slapstick energy that day.
Yeah, another one that I just thought of when Jake was mentioning slapstick that I don't have a name for, but Ura versus Gonoyama, where Gonoyama like went for a charge against Ura, and then like Ura just wasn't there, and so Gonoyama just face planted on the doyo.
He did magic again. He did like the little like hand wavy like make
Ura magic.
All right, and then we move to the match of the Basho. On Day 2, we had Teruno Fuji versus Wakamoto Haru. This was a good belt battle between the two of them, went back and forth several times before coming to a standstill. Waka pushed and tried for a leg trip, but Teruno Fuji fought it off, brought them back to a standing position, stood for a while trying to catch their breath, but Wakamoto Haru finally surged directly into Teruno Fuji. His balance was off, and Wakamoto Haru yorikiri'd the Yokozuna out. On Day 2, we had Ura versus Hoshoryu, which the first and two consecutive beautiful reversals from Hoshoryu. Ura had him at the Tawara. He was poised for a side push out, but Hoshoryu regained his footing, somehow found leverage in the position that he was in, and rolled his upper body to throw Ura to the clay. Day 10. Kirishima versus Onosho, just a wild back and forth matchup between these two. Beautiful display of all areas of sumo in an extended match that the Ozeki would end up. I think he slapped Onosho down at the end.
It did end up in a pulling position, but like, it showed all areas of sumo, and I nominated this one just because I thought it was just such a good display of all types of sumo, and neither guy screwed up. It was just one guy ended up being better, but yeah, they were all over the place. And yeah, if you wanted to show somebody one match to be like, here's all of the things that can happen, that's a pretty good nominee for that.
Yeah. And Onosho visibly very upset after that loss, because that was his second loss, and that started his series of losses to the upper ranked guys. Yeah. But Onosho had Kirishima at certain points, wasn't able to finish it off, and you can see he was very upset after that. And then we have Day 13, Tobizaru versus Ura, that one that I just went through. You know what happened. And then also Day 15, Ryuden versus Ura, Ura Magic Part 2 with the Tsutaizori win versus Ryuden, where Ryuden was over Ura's back, trying for a force out or a crush out, but Ura kept his feet under him. He used his legs and back, sprung up and back for a Tsutaizori win. So we are split. I don't know that we've ever had a split like this in trying to determine the match of the Basho. I voted for Teruno Fuji versus Wakamoto Haru. Looks like Fleric went for Ryuden versus Ura, and Jake and Mac threw their votes in for Tobizaru versus Ura. So are we good with Tobizaru versus Ura for our match of the Basho?
Well, it got more votes than the other ones.
Yeah, I was about to say it got 2 votes.
What do you mean we've never been split like that? Come on.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had a 1-1-2 split.
Yeah,
but Mac is a Suke.
I know.
Max is Suke Bito, and I'm a Yokozuna, so I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so his vote counts for half. That one still wins.
I get half. It's still 1.5.
And mine is for like 3/4. So yeah, 1 3/4. So obviously me.
All right, Ura versus Tobizaru is our match of the Basho.
Ryan trying to sneak in a lost and just be like, oh, I liked mine more though.
I did.
This guy.
All All right. We got a couple of Patreon questions we're going to knock out here. First, we have an update on the question that we had received from Martha that we discussed on the preview episode, talking about, are there any mono-e's during the Jungyo tour? And we said, no, why would there be? We did have one of our Discord users 2 times provide us with an instance where there has been a mono-e. So in prior to Aki of 2015, there was a Shippan conference performed by the Rikshi, not by the ringside Oyakata, following a match between Endo and some kids. Endo was pushed out by the children, but one of them may have had a hand on the top knot during the bout. So Toyo Noshima, former Rikshi, had called the mono-e. A group of Rikshi got up, discussed it, and afterwards Homore Fuji offered the typical Shippan explanation as to what their decision was, and no Hansoku was observed. Gunbai Dori, the children defeated Endo.
I think, yeah, and that's the rule for kids sumo, is what happens in the ring is not important. The kids win the match.
Yeah.
That is a secret, I'll say. A secret to kids sumo is the kids.
I don't know. Endo looked a little bad this Basho, so
yeah.
9 years ago, he might have lost to some children if he was in this form. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But yeah, it sounds like the case is for good fun no matter what. So even that seems like kind of a sarcastic, we're having fun kind of situation.
And then we had a recent question come up that we're instantly putting to the top of the pile. Our patrons Giuseppe and Discord user Saint Anger. I know they're a patron because they're in our Discord, but I have no idea which patron they are. Both have their first kids coming soon. And they asked, what advice can we offer? So Jake and I, both being parents somewhat recently, with past 3 years for me, and Jake about a little over a year. So for me, first and foremost,
sorry, I'm just laughing because you wrote down like the most 101 stuff.
Yeah. Hey, it works.
You know what? Maybe we are the only ones they're coming to for advice. So
yeah,
got to make sure this stuff is covered. You're right.
Hey, it's the first things that came to my mind. So first of all, do whatever your wife/partner wants or needs you to do while they are recovering. Their body chemistry and physiology changed over the past 9 months and culminated in shooting a child out of themselves. So you owe them a bit of a break.
Kind of tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've heard. So I've been told. Also, if you are able to take time off to be with your kid those first couple of weeks, it's very important to like do skin to skin contact with the child. It helps create a bond between the parents. I think that is, I know Jake and I both did that with our kids, and
we're both very lucky that we had some leave, but yeah, it's worth every second, whatever
absolutely.
You're allowed to take.
Yeah, and that just gives you more ability to be your partner's bitch and do whatever they want you to do, which you should do. But then also, for me, when something that I've been dealing with recently with a mouthy 3-year-old, when they get older, remember they're a dumb kid and you're an adult. Have patience with them. Don't match their energy or emotion level. Just set the energy emotion level that the situation deserves and teach them to kind of match that. Don't rise to their level and argue with a 3-year-old. You're gonna lose no matter what you say.
I had a couple that I didn't. Nobody told me these before I started caring for an infant. The one thing that pretty quickly became obvious, so I don't know how helpful this actually is, if you'll discover it yourself. But for me, especially if you've got 2 of you available to care for the kid and one of you has things handled, just go sleep. Like you can't both be on all the time. So like if one of you can endure whatever has to happen as far as like the work of it right now, and the other one doesn't have to be there, go get some sleep, because it's not going to come in long bunches for a while, and it's going to be, take advantage where you can. But
yeah, one of you might have the patience to deal with a yelling and screaming toddler. The other one might have had a horrible day at work and just can't deal with that right now. So I think communicate with your partner where you're at mentally with your capabilities for who should kind of take the lead on dealing with the not fun stuff that day.
It's okay if one of you feels better than the other one for you to go get a nap. Like, just do it. You got to do it. The other thing, oh no, this is probably less applicable now. I watched a bunch of like old Bashos and stuff just because I needed something on TV. And I needed it to be something where if I'm tired, I can also sleep. I watched old Sumo. That was one of the things that was easy to put on TV. If it's like my turn at 3 a.m. to watch the kid, I'm too revved up to just like, when the kid's very new, you do not want to fall asleep holding them, just until they're a little less fragile. So for me, I wanted something on TV that would be like kind of interesting, but also wouldn't be so interesting that I would put the kid back in the bassinet and then I don't need to watch day 4 of Aki 2015. It's fine. I'll just I'll go back to bed. Right. So yeah, have some like mid-tier stuff that's like a little bit interesting, but not super interesting available. That was a lifesaver for me in the early mornings a lot, very early.
So yeah, that's all we got.
Very
We're
wise.
bad parents, so we don't have good advice for you. Sorry, you came to the wrong spot.
Also, make sure to Yorikiri them and be able to put them in grappling holds.
Assert dominance.
Yeah. They get used to those techniques early.
And just know that if they're not Ozeki by 23, they're washed.
Yeah.
It's okay
but no,
to
congrats.
think somebody doesn't have potential for top level sumo, Jake. I'm not a bad guy.
Shota got a Yusho when he was like 5 years older. So, you know what? Whatever.
I'm still not wrong yet. All right. Speaking of how correct I am, we got my favorite email that we've ever gotten from a listener ever, from friend of the podcast, Rod Lunsford. It reads, "Dear GSB, love the podcast, longtime listener, many-time emailer. I think you may want to consider."
Nope.
All right,
Nope. We're just getting really good stuff. "I think you may want to consider a slight name change to your podcast. I think you could rename it Ryan and the Grand Sumo Breakdown, or Grand Sumo Breakdown featuring Ryan. It's obvious that as far as sumo takes and opinions go, Ryan has the best ones. He correctly pointed out Takakeisho still having a lot of trouble with his neck, and it may disrupt his career entirely, only to be mocked by the rest of the crew. What happened? Takakeisho had to withdraw from the tournament because of the pain in his neck. Ryan also pointed out that Kota Nowaka is on the verge of a career breakout and may have a higher ceiling than Kirishima or Horoshoyu. And again, he is mocked. Now Koto leads the tournament." This was on like day 13 or 14. "Ryan is the Dai Yokozuna for a reason. He knows pro sumo, and I salute him. Thank you, Rod Lunsford, big Ryan fan."
He did get one
I
thing
don't
right.
think it can be more obvious than that.
He did get one thing right. You're definitely going to get mocked on this podcast.
Oh, for sure.
Indeed. Yokozuna Fleric, how would you like to begin the mocking?
No, we should rename it like Grand Sumo Breakdown and the Mocking of Ryan or something like that.
I like it.
Let's get right up front.
Again, we're looking at short-term results as proof of long-term predictions here. So just
all you need. Stop the count. All right.
Reset.
What was everybody's favorite moment of the Basho? Let's start with Jake.
I think Ura going nuts, especially because a few of them were even wins. But Ura, 5 or 6 different matches are memorable to me from this one. Just whether it was a flip, whether it was like his silly backdrop, whether it was him like being like visually amazed that Hoshoryu beat him on that one day early on.
Yeah.
Ura was Ura. It was amazing.
What about you, Fleric?
It's gotta be Teruno Fuji just reminding everyone that he's still the Yokozuna and showing it with style.
Yeah. It's just nice having the Yokozuna back.
It is.
What about you, Mac?
I'm a fan of revenge, so seeing Gonoyama completely humiliate Hoshoryu, that was just great.
Yeah. For me, I think this Basho cemented what I thought 2023 was and kind of clarifies that we are in kind of the next era of sumo. I don't think we're we're fully all the way there yet. I think we need the next Yokozuna to really cement this as the next era, but we have our top tier guys. We have Koto no Waka, Hoshoryu, Kirishima, Teru no Fuji for as long as we'll have them, and Takakeisho, every other Basho at this point. But those are our top guys. They have won the last 7 Yusho. All 7 of our last 7 Yusho winners are with Koto no Waka. Well, no, Koto no Waka doesn't have one, but all 7 of our last Yusho winners are all Ozeki or above, which is something that hasn't happened the entire time that we have watched sumo, because we came in at Hakuho being a 50-50 kind of guy. And so we've always seen like the here and there Maegashira Yusho, maybe like a Komusubi Yusho. And I think to get a Maegashira Yusho over the next 2-3 years while these guys are at the top, it's going to take an incredible feat and be a lot more impressive than the 3 in a row that we got to end 2022. So I just think this is really cementing what I thought this year would be, and there's still plenty of time for this year to turn out completely wackadoo different.
It is January.
The direction that sumo seems to be going, I think, is very good. Having the top 4 active Rikishi on day 12 being the only 4 that can win a Yusho is awesome and amazing, and I hope that it keeps going forward like that.
Well, that's a terrible take, Ryan.
Yokozuna Flare, please enlighten us. Give us your hot
sumo. With this era, it's not about our Teru no Fujis or Zeki and parody or anything about the new kids coming up. We're just in Ura's world, and we're just living his time while he does funky Kimarite, and he just that's what he's going for instead of wins. So
as usual, Ryan with the worst takes.
Clearly.
Sure, he'll get more hate mail for it, but you know what? If the 3 of us have to drag him kicking and screaming into having a fun podcast, we'll do what we got to do.
Yeah, we got to keep it interesting.
It's been working for 7 years. Why change it now? All right. So that is going to wrap up our recap of the Hatsu Basho. Coming up from Grand Sumo Breakdown, we're going to have the trading card opening episode, and we will be sending out the trading cards to those patrons that want them. We'll have Bonsuke prediction and recap, potentially the next edition of the GSB Hall of Fame prior to the Haru Basho. It's been about a year, so we'll have to think of some new moments to throw in there, and the Hall of Shame. So that's what to expect from Grand Sumo Breakdown in the next few weeks. Jake, I'm sure we're going to have some amateur sumo content coming out as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we got 1 tournament that just happened and 2 more in the next month. So yeah, we'll have some coverage of that. There'll be a new newsletter out by the next Basho. And yeah, I'm going to try and put together an episode to like really break down what the newsletter is, because I know that it's a lot of people generally enjoy it, but I just do a very poor job of marketing what it is and why people would be interested in it. I also want help making it. I want to expand it, but I can't do that with the level of the level of me there is to go around. I can't really devote more time to it, so I really want to get some more people working on it. See if we can get some more written pieces, photography, art, whatever. I just think it's a fun project that I really enjoyed, and I want to spread that around.
All right, and so the next main Basho is going to be starting Sunday, March 10th. That'll be the beginning of the Haru Basho. So until then, thank you for listening to Ryan and the Grand Sumo Breakdown. Until next time,
Where's that
throw yourself high.
Just stop recording, Jake.
Forward.
Hold on, I'll get it.